Hi, and welcome back to another devlog for Tiny Golf Adventure. I know, it's been more than a month since my last devlog. Well, it's been 2 months, mostly because I didn't feel like I had enough to make a video out of it. Now, however, I feel like there's too much for just one devlog, but I'll try to keep this one short and sweet. Let's look back. In my very first devlog, I explained why I didn't want to use the built-in physics engine in Unity. While I really enjoyed the feeling of the game without actual physics, just using the built-in character controller, going up and down on slopes as well as falling down and jumping just didn't feel right. Simply put, I didn't like the way the ball was behaving on slopes and in the air. So, I'm back to using the built-in physics engine, and I'm still fine-tuning a few values. It does feel less predictable now, which was something I liked about the character controller, being more predictable. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. I am, however, keeping the function I wrote for slopes in the first version, but instead of modifying the movement value, I'm applying force to the ball and only when it's rolling down. So let's have a look at the visuals. I have been working hard on the first world, and this is probably the main reason why it's been a while between these devlogs. I just couldn't decide on a theme that inspired me. I even changed the style for a while, where I tried to simplify the models to make it easier for me to design the levels. I thought this would be the perfect shortcut for me, since I don't really do 3D modeling. I had this idea of just creating simple objects that would basically fit on a grid, and then just copy and paste them until I had a level. However, I scrapped it. The more I looked at previous versions of the game, the more I felt drawn towards this simple, more custom-made world. So, there was a moment where I felt like I made no progress whatsoever, and that it wouldn't have made the best content. Thinking about it now, maybe it would have been worth recording. Maybe this devlog should show when things didn't go as planned as well. Oh well, back to the first world. For some reason I've been drawn towards a magic or enchanted forest. I think I even mentioned it in the previous devlog, despite it not being too magical. I've always envisioned it being somewhat dark and mysterious. However, lately I have found this bright and beautiful forest much more enjoyable. I have a couple of darker worlds planned already, so for variation I'm leaving this as a bright and colorful one, mostly because the ones I've planned kind of need to be dark and mysterious to make sense. I have worked more on trying to get that cartoon look I have envisioned, and I feel like I'm getting closer to it. There's no real lore or backstory, but I have been working on some details. There's a train station, a farm, a well, and a playground. There's a ladybird, a bridge, some forest spirits, and even a pond. Oh, and of course, dogs. The placement of these objects isn't final yet, nor are they animated, but rather me testing to see how they fit into the world I'm creating. Now, let's talk about some gameplay decisions. Despite it being a golf game, I don't see the rules of golf playing too big of a role in the gameplay. I'm not aiming for 18 levels or holes per world, but some levels may or may not reward you for a hole-in-one. So while the inspiration for the gameplay is undeniably from golf, I'm trying to incorporate influences from some of my favorite platformers, arcade games, and maybe even some adventures and RPGs. I'm toying with the idea of a simple skill tree, nothing too advanced. Maybe finishing all challenges in a world could unlock a special power, like double jumping. I don't aim to create a grinding type of skill tree where you repeat the same task over and over again to unlock new features, but rather have the challenges as almost optional side quests, and rewarding the players who manage to complete them all. I've also added goals to each level, instead of just having challenges. My idea is that every level has a couple of goals to complete before unlocking the next level. These are mandatory for the player to proceed, while the challenges are just a reason to replay the level and eventually unlock skills that will help you get a better time or to get that hole-in-one. A few examples of goals and challenges would be to just get a hole-in-one, grab the star and get a hole-in-one, as well as getting a hole-in-one without jumping. Maybe worth mentioning, since I might have talked about this in a previous devlog, I had collectibles before, the stars here. There's only 1 star per level now. With unlimited strokes, getting all stars wouldn't be much of a challenge, but getting all of them in 1 stroke might be too much of a challenge. I have not yet given up on the idea of collectibles, but there's some balancing to do for it to be fun. I might have said that there won't be any jumping as well, but for now there is. This is something that I may lock as a skill though. I have been working on the player profile part of the game, or player customization. As for now, the player can change the color as well as put on a hat. There will be some unlockable hats and maybe even some time-limited ones. Some hats might get special treatment, like this propeller hat. My idea is that the faster the player is moving, the faster the propeller is rotating. A minor, maybe unnecessary detail, but maybe a rather cute one. As for allowing the player to choose a color, I'm still a bit torn. My first idea was to just allow any color with a simple color picker, but I feel like limiting the palette is a better idea, so I decided on a few colors, and I feel like 8 colors is enough. These aren't final, but the solution for this is quite simple. The button has a child object named color, which is just an image. I can set this color to whatever I want, and the button picks the color and applies it to the ball and saves the data. Maybe I'll even add some textures later on, some basic ones and some more exclusive ones. But for now, the customization is limited to color and headwear. I tried to find the best way to draw some grass blades, to add more to that cartoon look. Let's turn it off for a while. It's rather subtle, but once it's there I feel like it makes all the difference. So what I eventually did was to just draw the grass and randomly repeat it in Photoshop, and then I added a sprite to the world and set it to tile. Hopefully this isn't too performance heavy, and if you have another better solution I'd love to hear it. And yes, I have tried my best to work on the UI. It has never been my strong suit and probably never will be, but I'm slowly building up to something. Step by step, whenever I feel inspired. Everything I'm showing here is very much a work in progress. Most of it probably won't even make it to the end product, but it sure makes it easier for me to navigate around the project. So, from the main menu, instead of jumping straight into the game, the player can pick a level here. This of course needs to be redesigned, but it's working for a prototype. The pause menu has been completely redesigned as well. Now you get more information about the level you're currently on and you can jump into another level. I will, however, make it so that you can view more information about the level before playing it to see which challenges and goals are available. I haven't started on the settings or the skill tree just yet, but you've seen the player profile and the quit button just gives you two options now, either to quit to the main menu or to the desktop. I'm sure you have by now seen a few things that are a bit off, like how the hat doesn't rotate correctly on start and how hitting the flag sometimes positions the player incorrectly. Maybe even how the character drops the hat when hitting a goal. This actually isn't a feature, but I'm making it into one. It won't be this static, but I want the hat to kind of fly away somehow. So, moving on, I have a few bugs to take care of, some minor details to polish and just keep on adding to the world and its levels. Hopefully I'll have an early access version of the game available soon. I might have forgotten some things that have been updated or improved, but I don't want to bore you with too much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.